So while Google kills contracts that help our nation's defenses, opting instead to help China's AI, Amazon puts America first. Despite getting flack from sheltered employees who think national security is for losers, CEO Jeff Bezos sticks to his guns. Here he is at a conference on Monday.
We are going to continue to support the DoD, and I think we should. It doesn't make any sense to me. Sometimes one of the jobs of a senior leadership team is to make the right decision, even when it's unpopular. And if big tech companies are going to turn their back on the U.S. Department of Defense, this country is going to be in trouble.
Good for him. Now compare that common sense to Google's virtue signaling cowardice. First, Google suspended its contracts with our military when some workers whined about it. Then they helped China create a search engine that censors criticisms of its leaders, which suits Google since they'll remove anything that upsets them. Ask James Damore. Apparently, this tech titan thinks it's more evolved than the country it exploits. Defense is so yesterday. Security is for fascists. Plus, they're terrified of the activists in the company cafeteria. Google ignores their heroic predecessors like Ford and Douglas Aircraft, or tech geniuses Alan Turing and Norbert Wiener. Turing helped invent modern computing, but also broke secret codes to beat the Nazis. Mathematician Norbert calculated rocket trajectories during the same war. Even movie stars like Hedy Lamarr helped out. She came up with a guidance system for American torpedoes. Top that, Taylor Swift. These people didn't care about PR. They cared about a country's survival. But not Google. They may be the greatest search engine on earth, but the one thing they'll never find is a spine. Morgan, you are still in the Navy, aren't you?
I am. I do not speak on behalf of the Department of Defense, but I am a reserve
officer. Well, you are now. We've covered this topic when Google, we've done a few segments on how Google basically opted out of helping out on our drone program, which would have helped the drones be more precise, which would save lives, preventing collateral damage. Google pulled out of that, which actually makes our drones less safe. And then Tom Rogan did a really good piece comparing Amazon to Google. And we see this. What do you make of Google? I'm disgusted by this company.
Yeah, I'm incredibly frustrated when you see what they're doing in China. The Chinese today have Muslims detained in internment camps and detention camps there. And so I think we're in this really interesting period for American business. And it actually ties into the Saudi case in that American businesses are saying, what does it mean to be an American business? Are we an American business first and foremost, or are we seeking profit overseas? What does it mean? Do we care about a country's human rights records? Should we continue to do business in Saudi Arabia after this? If so, like, where do you draw the line? You know, where do you draw the line in doing your company's business overseas? And I think that that's something that American businesses need to ask for themselves today. And it's going to be even more crucial as the president ramps up his escalation, the trade escalation with China over the next 2 years. We're in a Cold War with the Chinese, and American businesses need to decide, are they patriotic or are they international businesses seeking profit?
Yeah, and you could be both. You know, Jesse, you're kind of an expert with Google. You Google your name constantly. It seems to me that Google wants the freedom, the markets, and the profits, but not the responsibility that comes with it, or admitting that safety helps that happen.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Everyone's based out west, and North Korea already hacked Sony, and North Korean nuclear missiles. If they're going to go launch, they're going to go right into Seattle, San Francisco, or Los Angeles. The Chinese, very aggressive in the Navy situation. They're hacking us, cyber warfare. And when you think about a terror attack out there also, it could really just stop the presses. So you set it up nicely. American military supremacy over the last 100 years has been underwritten by patriotic big tech executives. Absolutely. The Manhattan Project, GPS, stealth technology, missile defense, everything that you think about military advancements, it's because of people in the tech sector that put their country ahead of everybody else. And if that collaboration between these executives and the Department of Defense doesn't last, then Silicon Valley doesn't last.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I never heard about Hedy Lamarr. That blew me away. I mean, that's the equivalent of like Taylor Swift, building an amazing drone program.
Yeah, we even had baseball players who were spies,
Yeah.
I mean,
Good old days.
Yeah, but you know what amuses me about this is Jeff Bezos is under attack by President Trump most of the time because he owns the Washington Post.
True.
And then Trump says, oh, the Postal Service is getting ripped off by Amazon. It's constant. Now, here's Jeff Bezos. He comes out and says, America's a great country. We have to defend our country.
Right.
And suddenly I see, oh, the conservatives now are flocking in defense of Jeff Bezos. How interesting. How convenient.
That's because we can change our mind.
No,
we can. We can actually say the Washington Post is biased, but Bezos is a patriot.
But let me just say, so when his employees say, guess what? We have a moral issue in terms of the facial recognition stuff being used against people. And it's not only overseas, but in terms of our police departments at home, what goes on in terms of American rights. I agree that they have a right to speak out and speak to the leadership of their company. I also agree that when Jeff Bezos says the senior leadership sometimes has to make a decision that's not popular, but it's the right decision. And I think he made the right decision. But that's not to say that everybody who has a moral issue is somehow a wimp or unpatriotic. That's not the case.
I disagree. They are unpatriotic and they're wimps, Dana.
Yes, case closed.
Case closed. But you know what? They're bending to a few loud voices because they don't want the PR nightmare.
Well, Silicon Valley is in a political and ethical minefield right now because victory in war is increasingly dependent not just on what happens on the battlefield, but what happens in your military servers and your cyber warfare capabilities. Right. And so, they're going to have to figure out who do they want to help, right? They want to have the bottom line. Are they willing to help China on some of these things? For example, even Google, when it started, its phrase was, don't be evil.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure what the Chinese are doing would be classified as evil. And they can't see that Americans want to use better technology to limit collateral damage so that you aren't hurting innocent civilians, so that you can target more precisely, and you're going after terrorists. Big tech has replaced big banks now as the one that politicians can go after. But what's interesting for them, and the reason I say it's in a minefield, is because each side, Republicans and Democrats, are mad at the tech CEOs, but for different reasons.
Right. It's, what, tech is now Wall Street. Remember, everybody hated Wall Street?
Yeah.
Now Wall Street's irrelevant. Really,
exactly
and tech,
right.
it's everybody hates
you?
Until next time.
What?
Well, you always talk about AI, artificial intelligence, taking over. So I think, well, what would Greg say about killer robots being sent to kill our enemies? I don't know.
I would love that.
Oh, yeah?
Because that means fewer of our human beings being killed.
But
I'd rather send a robot.
What happens when we sell it to the Saudis and suddenly, killer robots are now over here?
that's already happening when you look at what's happening in Yemen, and the targeting was off. So it's not, whether it's robotics or the warfare that we're using now, it already happened.
And also, this can be applied to almost any kind of technology. All right.